a love that defied all odds. Chapter 1. A Simple Life in Willowbrook. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my YouTube channel, where we weave stories of love, courage, and hope to warm your hearts and maybe teach a few English words along the way. My name is Nayla, and I'm sharing a story about two young hearts in a village called Willowbrook, a tale of dreams, obstacles, and a love that refused to fade. I hope it touches you as much as it touched me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. In the quiet village of Willowbrook, nestled among green hills and whispering pines, lived a 21-year-old girl named Sophie. She had emerald green eyes that sparkled like the morning dew and auburn hair that caught the sunlight. Sophie's family wasn't wealthy. Their small cottage had a leaky roof, and their meals were simple, but they were rich in love. Her parents, Martha and Henry, worked the fields, and Sophie helped at home, tending to their garden and reading books under an old oak tree. She dreamed of a world beyond the village, of adventures and stories yet to be written. One crisp autumn day, Sophie walked to the village market, her basket swinging as she hummed a tune. The market was alive with color, stalls piled high with apples, bread, and handmade crafts. There, she met Daniel, a 23-year-old with tousled brown hair and a smile that felt like home. Daniel came from a wealthy family. His parents owned a grand estate and vast orchards that supplied the village. He was charming, kind, and carried an easy confidence that drew Sophie in. Chapter 2. A Blossoming Friendship. Sophie and Daniel struck up a conversation over a stall of wildflowers. He teased her about her overflowing basket, and she laughed, her shyness melting away. They began meeting at the market, then taking walks through the meadows, sharing stories by the sparkling river that wound through Willowbrook. Sophie told Daniel about her love for books, her dreams of seeing distant cities. Daniel shared his hopes of running his family's business with fairness, of making a difference in the village. Their talks stretched into hours, their laughter echoing under the stars. One golden evening, as they sat by the river, Daniel took Sophie's hand. "Sophie," he said, his voice soft but sure, "I love you. I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" Sophie's heart soared. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Yes, Daniel, I love you too." They embraced, dreaming of a future filled with love, a small house of their own, and children who'd run through the fields as they did. Chapter 3. A Family's Disapproval. But their joy was short-lived. Daniel's parents, Margaret and Thomas, were powerful figures in Willowbrook, proud of their wealth and status. When Daniel told them about Sophie, their faces hardened. "She's a farmer's daughter," Margaret said sharply. "She's not one of us." Thomas nodded. "Daniel, you need a wife from a family of means, someone who fits our world." Daniel's heart sank, but he stood firm. "Sophie's kind, intelligent, and strong. I don't care about money. I love her." The argument grew heated. "If you marry her," Thomas warned, "you'll get nothing from us, no inheritance, no support." Daniel left the estate, his mind racing. He met Sophie in their favorite meadow, his eyes heavy with worry. "They don't approve," he told her. "They think you're not good enough because your family's poor." Sophie's heart ached, but she squeezed his hand. "I don't want to come between you and your family," she said. "Maybe we're not meant to be." Chapter 4. A Painful Decision. Sophie's words broke Daniel's heart, but she was resolute. "I love you, Daniel, but I can't let you lose everything for me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Your parents will never accept me, and I don't want you to resent me one day." Daniel protested. "I'd never resent you, you're my everything." But Sophie shook her head. "Let's stay friends," she whispered. "It's the only way." They hugged, their sobs mingling, knowing their love was true but trapped by the world's rules. For weeks, Sophie cried herself to sleep, her books untouched, her dreams dimmed. Her parents noticed her sadness. "Sophie," her mother said gently, "we want you to be happy. If Daniel's not the one, you'll find another path." But Sophie couldn't imagine loving anyone else. Daniel, too, was lost, going through the motions at the family estate, his heart still with Sophie. Chapter 5. A Quiet Strength. Years passed, but Sophie and Daniel kept their promise to stay friends. They'd meet at the market, exchanging polite smiles, their conversations careful but kind. Sophie threw herself into helping her family, sewing clothes to sell and teaching village children to read. Her warmth and generosity earned her the love of Willowbrook, who saw her as a beacon of kindness. Daniel worked hard in his family's orchards, earning respect for his fairness. But his evenings were spent alone, writing poetry about a girl with auburn hair. One winter, Sophie's mother fell ill with a fever. The family struggled to afford medicine, and Sophie worked extra hours, her hands raw from sewing. Word reached Daniel, and he didn't hesitate. He arrived at Sophie's cottage with a basket of food, medicine, and blankets. "Sophie," he said, "I heard about your mom. Let me help." Sophie's eyes welled up. "Thank you, Daniel. This means more than you know." Chapter 6. A Bond That Endured. Daniel's visits became frequent, always when Sophie's parents were home, always respectful. He'd bring herbs for tea, books for Sophie, or small toys for the village children she taught. Her mother's health improved, and Sophie's gratitude deepened. "You're still the same kind Daniel," she told him one evening as they sat by the fire. He smiled sadly. "And you're still the Sophie I love." Their friendship grew stronger, but so did their unspoken love. They wrote letters when Daniel took a job in a nearby city, managing a new orchard branch. Sophie's letters were full of village life, children's laughter, new flowers in her garden. Daniel wrote of city lights and his dreams of a simpler life, always ending with, "I miss you." Their words kept their bond alive, a thread connecting their hearts across the miles. Chapter 7. A Bold Choice. 3 years later, Daniel returned to Willowbrook, his savings substantial from his city work. He, grown into a confident man, no longer reliant on his parents' wealth. He knocked on Sophie's door, his heart pounding. When she opened it, her eyes lit up. "Daniel, you're back!" she exclaimed. They sat in her garden, the air sweet with lavender, and talked for hours. "Sophie," Daniel said finally, "I still love you. I've saved enough to start a life, our life. I don't need my parents' approval anymore. Will you marry me, not as their son, but as me?" Sophie's breath caught. She thought of the years apart, the pain of their separation, but also the love that never faded. "Yes," she whispered, tears falling. "I've always loved you." Chapter 8. A New Beginning. Sophie and Daniel married in a quiet ceremony under the oak tree where Sophie once read her books. Her parents were there, beaming, along with village friends who'd watched their story unfold. Daniel's parents didn't attend, their disapproval unchanged, but Daniel and Sophie didn't let it dim their joy. They moved to a small house in the city, where Daniel ran his orchard business and Sophie opened a bookshop, sharing her love of stories with others. Their life wasn't without challenges. Money was tight at first, and they missed Willowbrook's simplicity. But their love was a steady anchor. They faced every obstacle together, their laughter and late-night talks filling their home. Soon, they welcomed a daughter, Rose, whose green eyes mirrored Sophie's and whose smile echoed Daniel. Chapter 9. A Love That Lasted. Years later, Sophie and Daniel grew old together, their hair graying, their hands weathered but always intertwined. They built a life of love, raising Rose and a son, Liam, teaching them kindness and resilience. They often returned to Willowbrook, where Sophie's parents welcomed them with open arms. Even Daniel's parents softened over time, meeting their grandchildren and seeing the strength of their son's choice. This is Sophie and Daniel's story, a tale of love that faced impossible odds and won through courage and heart. If you're watching, maybe you've loved someone the world tried to pull you away from, or maybe you're fighting for your dreams. Know that love, when true, can overcome anything. What would you have done in Sophie's shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read them. Thank you for joining me in this beautiful story. If it moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps this channel alive, bringing more stories to inspire and connect us. Let's grow this community together, celebrating love in all its forms. See you in the next video with all my love and hope.